everyone, Amanda here from Scrimpingmommy.co.uk. Today I'm going to share a very lovely, unique kind of design with you, inspired by embroidery patterns. I've seen embroidery patterns all over Pinterest and they're typically sketched out in black and white, and it really has inspired this card. So I'm starting with Magenta Madness, same as always, 11 3/4 by 4 1/8. Scored in the centre at 5 7/8 to make a card base. Sometimes it can be just a little bit off, so I just match the edges up and give it a recrease. And then this is 3 7/8 by 5 5/8. Okay, so what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to take something circular. This just happens to be a Stampin' Up! Embellishment tub. Okay, I'll give you the measurements, what it measures roughly. Although it doesn't really matter, it's about 2.5 inches, give or take, okay? And then using a pencil, I'm going to draw a circle in the bottom right, okay? But I'm going to, I'll just make sure my phone's on silent. I'm going to make sure I leave a maybe a 1/4 inch gap, both bottom and at the side there, and then draw around it. Okay, I just want to leave a little bit of space, but I want it more towards the right than in the centre or to the left. And very lightly, without really pressing on, very lightly drawing a circle. And I'm doing it lightly so that I can go back and rub it out. This is a guideline. Alright, and then I'm going to do some stamping. And I'm using today the Beautiful Thoughtful Blooms stamp set, and you can get the coordinating punch. Very simplistic set, but very, very beautiful, and flower punches. You can never have too many, in my opinion. And so the first thing I'm going to do is put some of these on some blocks. First of all, I'm using this flourish here. So I'm going to mount that on a block and get myself prepared. Then I'm going to be using the, what else am I going to be using? The very small flower, which I'm going to put on there. And then there's a star-shaped one, which I'm going to put on the back. Okay, I can use the block for 2 stamps, just stand it up on its side. And then I'm using one of the leaves, which is the one that is just the outline. I might not use all of those, but those are the basics. And then I have taken a sentiment which just simply says hello, and I've taken this from Forever Firm because I love the script there. Okay, so that's what I'm using. So I'm using Memento ink, which is here, and I'm going to start by inking up this, gently inking up the flourish. Now it is photopolymer, so you can see where you're placing it. I've used this before, so I know I don't really need a stamp mat underneath, okay, but they do advise it. So just in the centre of that stamp there, you'll see some little holes in the centre, and I'm going to use that to kind of line up. And I want this to the right, and I want one of those holes to go in the centre of where I've drawn my line. There we go, just to help me get it nice and even. Just give it a press, hold my card and lift, and there we go, it's stamped beautifully. So I can move that to one side now, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just grab a little special pen, which is a fine liner pen. I've bought these locally. You can get them in a set like so, and they've got different thicknesses, and one's a brush tip, and they're for drawing and colouring, and they're handy to have, okay. And what I'm going to do with my fine liner is I'm going to put dots all the way around that circle, okay. So it doesn't matter if it's not perfect, it doesn't matter if the spacing's not perfect, just put little dots all the way around your template circle that you have drawn. And this is where we get the embroidery template effect, because it looks a little bit like stitching. And this is the part that really inspired me, and also doing the black and white. Take some time over it if you've got the shakes. I've got the shakes a little bit today. Maybe I've had too much copper. And just go all the way around the edge. Very, very simple. Obviously you could do any shape. You could do a square, you could do a rectangle, you could do what you want. Okay, and if you're clever enough to go freehand, you don't need to do the penciling. Alright, but I'm not. I would be wonker. And then just give that chance to dry. Alright, shouldn't take long because it's only a fine liner pen. When you're confident that it's dry, you can then gently go in with a rubber and remove the pencil guideline. Okay, which leaves you then with your lovely, lovely circle of dots. Just make sure it's dry. You won't want to take all that time doing those dots to then smudge it because it's not quite dry. So do check. Get rid of those bits. And there we go. Alright, so our next step is to add some more detail. So I've got my little flower, I've got my leaf, and I've got my star. Let me just have a look at my sample to remind me where I placed things. So I can't remember. Alright, so I'm going to ink up the little leaf. Just being very careful with it. Okay, hopefully my mess of hair is not in this shot. And then I'm going to add that on there. I'm going to perhaps add another one just there. Okay, and then perhaps add one over here as well. Okay, I think is that enough? I think it is. And then I'm going to get my little flower and I'm going to do similar. I'm just going to scatter them quite randomly, to be honest, for this one. Okay, we'll have one here, we'll have one over here, and we'll have one. I think I've got enough there, to be honest. And then I'll use the star one. Okay, and I'll put a star there. Oop, that's blobbed a little bit. And I'll put a star over here. Okay. And then I might just add one here. Oops, that's not stamped very good. Let me do it again. Just go over it. There we go. Alright, and then to add a pop of colour, what I've done is, and you'll get a different result every time. Here's my sample. I'm not showing you a sample, although you've only seen it on the thumbnail. You will have seen. You're going to get a different result every time. Some look better than others. I prefer my sample to that one. And obviously, you know, as I say, you're going to get different results every time unless you are very, very careful and you consciously do it the same every time. I like to do it random. I like to not know what's going to happen. I'm only joking. So then I'm just going to stamp a flower with Magenta Madness cardstock. And I'm just going to use my ball tool to shape it. Let's just leave that there. Give it some shape. Okay, just break them fibres down a bit so it'll stand up a little bit better on the card. Flip it over, press it in the middle. Just get some Magenta Madness ink. Flip around the sides with some ink to make it stand out a bit. Okay, and then what I did use was I brought in some of my gems, and I've got these black ones which are left over for they retired a long time ago, but you could use any gems that you've got to hand, doesn't really matter. I just like these because they happen to be black, if I can get hold of one of them. Okay, add that in the centre there. Okay, and then what we're going to do is bring in a dimensional. Okay, bring my card back in. I'm going to place the dimensional exactly where I want my flower. It's easier. Okay, just is. And then I'm just going to add my flower to the centre of that stamped cluster there, just for a pop of colour. Alright, at this stage I'm going to add it to my card base, just to make my life a little tiny bit simpler than trying to get it to stick on once my sentiment's on there. Okay. put that on there. We've got a lovely 1/4 inch increment all the way around, and you could do these in any colour, but I just think the black ink there just really sets it off. So then to do our sentiment, we just move the card out of the way. As I say, I've got the hello wording from the Forever Fern stamp set. I'm just going to ink that up. Some black ink, stamp, doesn't matter. That bit of cardstock's a bit dirty, let me just do it a bit further on. There we go. Doesn't matter that it's not straight, because I'm going to punch it out with the classic label punch, which really makes my life a lot easier, because I'm really not very good at cutting sentiments straight. So it does help me an awful lot. Okay, bob that to one side, bring in some scissors. My sentiment, I'm going to trim it down because it's bigger than I want it to be. Let me just bring that card back into shot. I'll trim it there, turn it around. Goodness knows where that's flown to, probably down the back of the radiator. And trim that there. And then I'm going to stick it on some Magenta Madness card to make it stand out just that bit more. I'm going to use one of these flat edges, squared off edges as a guide to help me. Alright, because I just want a very tiny increment. Alright, just get that straight. And then I'm just going to trim up there. And then trim along the top. Okay, that's not terribly straight, let's have another go. I'll just trim a bit more off. This is why I like the classic label punch, because it helps me to get that straight, that's better. Okay, and it gives me a nice straight guideline to do my next layer on, it just makes things that little bit easier. So then we're just going to attach 2 dimensionals, okay, making sure the flat edges are along the flat edge, otherwise if you have it the pointy way around then it'll show. You don't want it to show. Okay, take the backing off, and then we're going to have it in the middle, but we're going to have it not in the middle of the circle, we're going to have it just protruding over. It just adds a little bit more interest, and there we go. That's another lovely card. As I say, you can do them in any colour. I think it's really nice to have the feature colour matching your cardstock, and then you know it's going to coordinate. We've just got 2 colours there, black and Magenta Madness. So you don't need heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps of things to make beautiful, beautiful cards. I hope you'll give that a try. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you again soon.